Oh. Hey, good morning. You are number one, and I hope you're having a great day. Oh, everybody's starting to show up. So welcome aboard. It's a different view today, huh? I'm in the welding department. Yeah. And, getting stuff done. I will explain everything. Hey, good morning. So it's a beautiful day here in New Hampshire, because every day in New Hampshire is beautiful. And it's sort of gray. We had a little bit of rain. You can kind of see on the ground, but not too much. I was sort of hoping to move the welding table outside, which is sort of nice, but I was afraid of the rain. Good morning, guys. Hey, Aaron, I haven't talked to you in a while. So, there's Warren. Hey, Warren, you got more rain than I did by a lot. So you had the right cloud. But we had enough rain to keep me inside. Yeah, it's going good, Aaron. Oh, right. You want to explain yourself, Gina, in front of all these people that are assembled? What you mean by accept a request? I do not understand. Good morning. So anyway, I have been working on this shelf and bracket for the mist collector, which is sitting right there. And you can see that this is where the mist collector is going to sit. And it's going to be spaced off of the lolly column. And it's that lolly column right there. Okay, and the grinder is right here. And here you can see the new mist collector plenum. So, hang on, I got to just take care of some business here. Let's see. Okay. So, anyway, this thing's all welded up except for the tabs. So I'm putting tabs in. This guy's tacked up. You might have seen that post a few minutes ago. And that is holding this tray. This is the tray that is the bottom of the mist collector. And the coolant. Hey, Frank, welcome aboard. And the coolant falls into this tray. The screws here have seals on them, so these are sealed. And then this version of the mist collector tray is set up so that the coolant collects here and then goes down this hole, and this has a little bit of a lip. So the mist comes up through here. It gets coalesced up in the mist collector, which I'll show you in a minute. It's actually pretty cool. Hey, Adam, good morning. And then it drips into here, and then it goes down this hole, which has its own hose connector, and literally that's a garden hose connector, and then it drips back into the coolant tank. Is the purpose to waste less coolant? Very good question. No, I don't care about the loss of coolant from the mist. In fact, the loss of coolant from the mist when grinding is much smaller than the evaporation. And I guess if I was running, 40-hour work weeks here, that would be different. But the purpose is health. So when you're grinding with flood coolant, which I do a lot of when I'm grinding, it's all flood coolant. I don't do anything else. The contact between the wheel and the work mechanically aerosolizes coolant, and you get mist coming off of here. Oh, hey, Warren. Sorry you had a computer issue. I'm glad you... Well, it wasn't me. I didn't do it, Warren. Anyway, so the mist comes off of here. Where does the mist go? Well, the mist goes on stuff, and you could find it. Let's see if I could find some. No, I'm too clean. I cleaned up. I can't find any schmutz. But you see, my fingers are a little oily. That's because the mist contains the coolant, and it settles on things. And that makes a mess. So reason number one, or in Europe, it's reason number one, it's for cleanliness. But reason number two is operator health. Okay? So when I grind, I wear a respirator. I talked about this before. And that is pretty important. And I'm hoping that I can maybe get to the point where I don't think I need a respirator anymore. So the plenum, those two holes you saw, let me back up here. There's going to be a lot of motion today. Sorry, so you might want to take your Dramamine. There are two holes or two sources of suction on the mist collector, okay? And one source is going to be the plenum, and the plenum has a 4-inch hose connector here, and then the mist collector will have a 4-inch hose connector there. And what do you know? There's a 4-inch hose. But you also notice there's a 2.5-inch hose here. Yeah, Aaron, I got used to it, so I don't mind it. But yeah, it would be kind of cool if I didn't have to wear the respirator the whole time. We'll see. So that 2.5-inch hose right there goes on the wheel housing. Now this is super cool because this has a little slide valve. So the mist collector, when this is open, the mist collector can suck air and mist up through here and then go up to the mist collector. I am going to keep this at a 2.5-inch hose all the way to the mist collector, and then this adapter, I could show you how this works, that I 3D printed. See previous posts. This adapter will adapt one of these to a 2.5-inch hose. So that's my setup. It's going to have one 4-inch hose going to the plenum that you saw, and one 2.5-inch hose going to the grinder wheel guard that's designed for it. So my hope is that the airflow between both of these is appropriate and life is good. The manufacturer said, no, you must go 4-inch all the way to where you're heading, but where you're heading is going to have an adapter anyway. So the only difference is I'm going to have a length of hose at 2.5 inches, which represents a additional restriction versus a hose that's 4 inches. So I'm going to see how it goes. I think this is going to be fine. I also want the smaller hose on the wheel housing just from a stress point of view. I don't want to put any forces on it. And then right up here, my garage door frame, see that? Actually, it's this one. This little hooky-doo. I can put an elastic on here that might stabilize the hoses because we're going right over here. So I have some options. I don't know how the mounting is going to go exactly, but it's looking pretty good, and I'm pretty happy about it. I posted about the plenum. I posted plenty about the plenum, and that's what it looks like from the back. And that is working out great. And the addition of the VHB tape has stiffened this guy up. so it's not going anywhere. And I think this is going to really suck. Ha. So, yeah, this is the project. I want to get it done ASAP because I have a ton of PFG stones to make. I think I'm on schedule, so I think everything's going to be fine. But I got a lot to do, and I had to do this at some point, and I figured I'm going to do it now and get it done. So that's the story on mounting the Misfit 550. I'll show you a front shot of that. See if I could step out here. Actually, that's the back of it. So there's the electrical gazinta. And the front of it, let's see if I could turn it around. There we go. It just has a gauge on it that tells you when the filter needs changing. Now, the mist collector, and this is the return hose to go back to the coolant tank. I'm just going to make a pile here. Here's the hardware that has the seals on them. So that's 1/4 with rubber seals. Okay, Aaron, take care. Regards to the family. And this is the top of the unit that we're never going to see once it's installed. But I wanted to show you how this works because it's really super cool. The guys at Misfit are very proud of this fabric filter on top of their coalescing filter. So let me just show you how this works. I'm going to try to do this one-handed without dropping stuff. Aren't you glad I'm not a brain surgeon? Okay. So, I don't know if I can do this one-handed. Let's see if I can do this without. There we go. All right. So that's the filter there, and then the cool bits, which I can't show you. I just realized it's all the way down there, and I don't want to unscrew things. Oh, I could tip it over. I'll tip it over. Hang on. Can I tip it over? Yeah, I can tip it over. Okay. So there is what the coolant sees when it heads up into this unit. And there's a stack of these. So the coolant wants to coalesce on these grids. And then once it does, it drips back into the tray. So this is the magic here. And anything that makes it through there, there's the blower. It's hard to see it. Anything that makes it through there then hits the fabric filter on top. There's a rubber seal on the bottom of this. That guy sits there, and this just gets a little pressure downward. So the air is coming out of there and returning to the shop. Adam asks, are those electrostatic? They are not. They are completely mechanical. So it is just the act of the coolant hitting the metal grid and having to turn. It's eventually going to coalesce on the grid and then just drip off. So that's what that is. Hey, Chris. So that's the Misfit. And thank you very much. You know, I like it when people notice the details. So I'll just let that hang. You're absolutely correct. And does the mist collector suck and filter grinding dust? Hopefully your grinding dust has been, hit with a gallon of coolant. And the mist that's coming off, I don't know. The answer is I think the answer is yes, because the mist is what has, if there's any grinding dust, the mist is in the liquid. and then when the liquid drips, that grinding dust that was I don't want to say in solution, that's the wrong thing, but that was suspended in solution is going to also follow it. So I think the answer is yes. maybe. So anyway, we'll see. So that's the Misfit. It's sitting here, staring at me, saying, "How come I'm not mounted and running?" So that's what's happening soonest, is get this thing mounted and running, so that I can assure the health of my operator and the cleanliness of my shop. Because my operator is annoying and demands cleanliness and moccasins. So I don't want to say that I don't want to tell you what the name of these moccasins are. But but I'm going to. These are affectionately known as my welding moccasins, and we may make that a product, weldingmocks.com, and they're my welding moccasins. Yeah, okay, enough said. So that's the Misfit, proudly made in Canada, right across the border in Barrie, Ontario, and I've been there. It's not terribly far away. And there you go. So if you have any other questions about this... Oh, a question is in the question box. Hang on. The same or less than the mist. We'll get to the filter. The rest will drop out. Yeah, I haven't made a super careful study of... I don't know. Ask me in a couple of weeks. We'll find out. Okay, so here's a question. How do you think the plastic will fare with the coolant? Okay, good question. Let's address that. So, the plastic that I use to make the plenum and all the pieces, including where is it? Oh yeah, this guy here. So this plastic is PETG. I think it's going to be fine. I think it's not going to have any sort of negative reaction. Now, I wouldn't do this with PLA. I don't think PLA necessarily would be happy, but I think PETG is actually okay. When you drink from a plastic beverage bottle, yeah, I knew Warren would like that. When you drink from a plastic beverage bottle, that plastic is PET. Actually, it's PETE. Now, I'm no plastics expert, but the G in PETG stands for glycol. So it's polyethylene T, tetra something, and then they stick a glycol on it. Hey, John, welcome aboard. So anyway, I think it's going to be a pretty robust plastic when it comes to coolant, which is basically water and oil. I'm not worried about it, but we'll find out. What's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is it disintegrates, and then we learn something. So I'm not worried about it. And then the hose, I know the hose is going to be fine, and it's plastic, right? Because McMaster Carr says that this is acceptable for oil. So if it's acceptable for oil, I think we're there. Well, that's, I think, a PVC plastic. Again, not an expert, not worried. We'll see what happens. I will report back how that works. But I'm pretty excited about it. So you can imagine this thing sitting right here, and then two hoses coming down. One hose hits the plenum. One hose hits the wheel housing. All the 100% of the vapor goes up and gets coalesced. Then the third tube is that clear tube that comes down, and that's going to get clamped, just like that little tube there is clamped right on the back of that trough. That goes right back into the coolant tank. So I'm very, very excited and happy to get that thing up and running. So that's going great. The welding's been going fine. Indiana John, welcome aboard. The welding's been going fine. I'm not exactly the world's best welder, but I think these things are not going to fall apart. And I'm going to finish up next the tabs. So that bottom surface is what goes onto this surface. and supports it. Oh, and not shown, I haven't even talked about it, there's a brace that's going to go up from this member, from here up to this plate, which is not yet fabricated, and that is going to be the brace on the pole. So there will be two U-bolts, one U-bolt there around the pole, and then a second U-bolt up higher around the pole with a brace coming down to this guy. I think I'm going to be able to sit on this when we're all done. And no, I will not put that on video. So that's what we're doing. I'm on track for finishing this today, which is excellent. I might even be on track for getting paint on it today, but I hope the sun comes out. That would be kind of cool for getting some paint on here. So I'm going to pull up a chair. I'm going to find my tea. Where's my tea? Uh-oh. First we got to find my tea, then I can answer questions. But it's been going quite well. I have no idea where my tea went. Oh, there it is. It's in the welding department. This is sort of a normal thing for me to lose my tea. Oh, okay. So here we are. Little Miller action. So how are you guys doing? What are you guys up to today? By the way, I want to point out that I took some training a while ago with Roy Crumrine of Crummy Welding, and Adam's grinding. Adam, I'm shocked. I'm actually shocked. Yeah, I will be grinding shortly. Chris is making some knobs. I saw the beginnings of your knobs. You posted a picture of the guitar you're working on, and that's really super cool. So Warren is line boring a cat excavator boom. Now, if you don't follow Warren, go do that. Warren Jones 4570, numbers which mean something to me. And Warren does some big stuff, which is a lot of fun to look at. So K.R. Blodgett says, building a benchtop lapping machine similar to Gottsvinter's. That's awesome. I want to see more of that. I'm sure you'll post pictures. Sunday family day for Bart. Back in the shop, installing a big welding fixture. Dika's here. Welcome aboard. Indiana John says, getting ready to move all his equipment to a much bigger shop that I'm going to start renting up in Compton. That's awesome. I don't know anybody that could use a much bigger shop. So that's awesome. Congratulations. So so Crummy Welding. I was going to give him a plug. Not sponsored. He doesn't even know I'm saying this, but he does training. I took training with him in person, and it was awesome. It was years ago at this point, and it was at John Saunders' shop. And I signed up for, I think it was 3 days. I think it was a 3-day course. And only 2 of us showed up. So it was me and this other guy and Roy Crumrine. Now, I can't guarantee, well, there is a way to guarantee you can get more of Roy, but having time with him and working with him, helmet to helmet was really huge for understanding, how to improve my skill. Now, I consider myself primarily a TIG welder, which is what he is. I can do the other processes, but I'm sticking to TIG as my primary. And he is a master, and it is wonderful to work with him. So, there's pluses and minuses. The pluses is your skills get better and you understand what good is. The minus is you understand what good is, and then you look at your welds. So it's sort of intimidating to watch him rip off a weld, and it's just like a textbook, and then you go do it, and it's like a flock of seagulls go over. So, yeah, it was a great experience. But as you can see, it resulted in some pretty functional welding. So let's see what else is going on around here. I guess that's about it. I'm hoping to finish this today and have a mist collector to show you guys next week, and that'll be a lot of fun. You guys have any more questions? If I don't know, I'll make something up, or I'll ask Adam to answer it. Alex joined. Welcome aboard. Silk Road Tool Machine Services joined. Welcome aboard. So, so tools in use today are the welder, the Miller Dynasty 200DX, and the Bridgeport for drilling holes, and the horizontal bandsaw for cutting stock. We had a question come in. Let's see what it says. So Chris asks, what's the fence with the fence that's splitting your shop? I think I know what you're talking about. Let's have a look. So there's a curtain hanging right there. Those are actually welding curtains. Indiana John, I don't even know what a panto mill is, so maybe you could fill us in on that. Those are welding curtains. Those little grids in them are actually conductors to keep the static down. And I have that separating bay number 1 from the rest of the shop. And they go from the ceiling, they overlap a little bit, and they go to the floor. Obviously, that's not perfect. But their whole purpose in life is to keep grinding dust on this side of the shop. Okay? Because right on the other side of the shop, I think you guys have seen this. You know, there's my lathe, and then in the next bay, there's my CNC mill. So we kind of want. Oh yeah, okay. So we kind of want things. We want to keep the schmutz on that side. So they go within about 2.5 feet of the ceiling, and they go all the way down to the floor. And it just helps. It's not perfect, but it does help. So that's what looks like a fence. I don't take any offense. So Indiana John, no clue what a panto mill is. Sorry. Excuse me. And there was another question in there. I think we got it. I don't think I understand this. Is blocking in your future PFG stones tricky? Blocking. Okay, so ask that again, but I don't quite understand the question. Does the mist collector add noise? Yes. Yeah, it's going to make noise. In fact, I'll tell you, from the grinding point of view, I think it's going to be noisier than the grinder, but I'm okay with that. I need the capability, so it's going to be a little noisy. It's like having a small air conditioner, not small air conditioner, like having a small vacuum cleaner going. So yeah, it's going to add noise. Indiana John says, a panto mill is a milling machine, but it's operated by a pantograph, so you sort of have CNC capabilities. That sounds pretty cool. I've never touched one. I would imagine that's a watchmaking thing, maybe. I don't know. But, yeah, never had my hands on one. Another question came in. Oops. You actually have to push the right buttons. Oh. So KR Blodgett asks, when grinding the PFG stones, how do you keep them blocked on the grinder, stuck in place. Okay, I understand the question now, and that's a fair question. You have to get the magnet. You have to order a magnet from Okamoto that's specifically for aluminum oxide. Sorry, I couldn't resist. I designed and built proprietary work holding for the PFG Stones. And I don't show it, so I apologize. But that's what I did. I designed a special fixture. The fixture goes on the chuck, and then the fixture has means to hold the stones. And there you go. So, you know, when you do grinding of interesting things, half of it, as you were correctly pointing out, is how the heck do you hold the thing? There's nothing stopping you from, you know, grabbing a stone in a vise, in a toolmaker's vise, and grinding it. The problem is I don't want the stress in the stone. I don't want to affect the stone, and I also don't like the traditional magnetic fingers that is used. In Robin Renzetti's original video, he taught that, and those are great. They're fantastic, but I had reasons I didn't like them. So I went away and I designed a completely proprietary setup. Bart says, I have a pantograph mill, a Deckel GK21 and a Coolman G0. That is neat. Yeah. What type of work do you do on it? Is that mostly is that watchmakery things? I'm unfamiliar with your work. I probably am, but I forgot. But that sounds like some fun toys to have. So I'm in a 3-car garage, so my floor space is what it is, and if I had more room, I'd have more toys, which is kind of a problem. Indiana John says people have used pantograph engravers for watchmaking. Panto mills are a bit heftier. It looks a lot like a Bridgeport, but with big old levers and arms. It sounds like fun. It sounds like a lot of fun. Cool. What else is cooking, guys? Anyway, last week we did an experiment, which I consider interesting. Small engraving, logo, and odd shapes. I guess that's what you're doing on those machines. Avery, welcome aboard. Using a 3D printer to make a template. So, very interesting. Oh, so you're making a 3D model, and then you're using that in the Panto mill to then do your milling. Do I have it right? Because that sounds very cool. If you've been following me, and you probably have if you're here, the Prusa printers are spectacular, and I use them. Yep, awesome. Very cool. Yeah, the Prusa printers have been just fantastic. I started with one, and now I have 3, and I retired the Lulzbot. I had a Lulzbot, and I was under the mistaken impression that the Lulzbot size was necessary for what I was doing, until I discovered that my 8-inch PFG Stones trays will fit on the Prusa printer if you rotate it 90 degrees from the way my brain was working. Duh. So once I rotated it 90 degrees, it turned out that the Prusa printer was printing the 8-inch trays just fine. So I retired that. I now have a 3 Prusa Mark III farm. So I could go downstairs and crank anything I want out, and what a huge help in the shop. It just reduced the friction for going from an idea to having something in your hands greatly. So it's down to just printing time. And I'm very comfortable with my process. Yep. Yeah, I would imagine, Dika says, he says, I saw a couple of times work pieces done on panto mills. You get a much better finish on CNC. No question about it, but it depends on what finish you need, right? And if you're going to do any post-processing. Yeah, okay, we had the same thought at the same time. And you have a lot of handwork, right? I have a lot of respect for people who could bring it in for a landing with hand finishing. It brings to mind Ox Tools, Tom Lipton, and his skill with files, which is spectacular. I don't have that skill. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I'm a big fan of CNC. You know, the CNC machine does not get tired. And as long as you do your job, it'll do its job. And it frees up the operator. And I'll tell you, another good point about CNC is that you can have multiple processes going on at once. You know, I have the 3D printer going, or printers going, and I'll have some stones on the grinder grinding, and that's about a half hour cycle time, and I could have another machine going, and I'm being way more productive in a one-man shop than I would be if I didn't have CNC. So, big fan. Yeah, knives. Indiana John says knives made with without CNC have a different target audience. Well, that's cool, but it's really hard to look at something and decide whether or not CNC was ever used on it. So I'd rather have something. Yes, CNC Machinist India says keep sharing knowledge. Always happy to share. Except for those couple of things that I can't. Stephen Lang joined us. Welcome aboard. So what else is going on? That was the week in the shop. Yes, that's true. CNC costs money. No question about it. It's a trade-off. All right, Warren, you take care. Have a great work day, this fine work Sunday. And one day I'm going to get over the hill to you and see your cool setup. And yes, your stones are sitting 20 feet away and they're half done. What steel grades are best for making knives? That's an interesting question. I don't know. So I'm not a knife maker. I have friends that are knife makers. So I will answer that question this way. Your question is insufficient because a knife can be anything from a pocket knife folder to a fixed blade knife on your belt to a cooking knife. And I think the answer depends on the application. Adam the Machinist says, get the book Knife Steel Nerd. This sounds like a very good idea, Adam. Thank you. I'm going to look it up this evening. Knife Steel Nerd. Very good. Yeah, there's so many different steels. It's hard to pick. Okay, we have a couple of... if you have time, how to use a brake dresser. So last week, I don't know if you were here last week. I did the whole thing on the brake dresser last week. And I think you weren't here. I'm sorry, buddy. But it's on IGTV. I saved all of the I save all of the lives, the IG lives on IGTV. So I don't have time today to do Brake Dresser because I did it. And yeah, we missed you. I was doing it and I was looking for you and I didn't see you. So we had to go because we were on topic. So I had to let it rip. Let's see. Chris says, anyone out there have a good source for abrasive tumbling media? So let's see if we could help Chris out. I just use McMaster Carr, and I know there are other sources for that. So if anybody out there can help out Chris, looking for a good source for abrasive tumbling media. And I am certain that that's one of those areas where there are as many different types of abrasive tumbling media as there are opinions. I have a couple of tumblers, and I haven't been doing much of it lately. So, all right. So if anybody has a good answer to that question, post it here and or reach out to the Pragmatic Machinist, Chris, and help him out with abrasive tumbling media. Another question came in. Oh, KR Blodgett asks, what's in the red spray can over your shoulder? Ma. Right there. So, this is a Sure Shot. I think it's this is a 32-ounce Sure Shot. So you get to fill it with whatever you want. And then on the top, there's a valve for pressurizing it. So this is really nice for not buying a bunch of throwaway spray cans. Oh, thank you, Dika. I appreciate it. By the way, Chris, I don't know if you see the comments. Indiana John wants to know what kind of media you're looking for. So the answer to your question is right here under my fingers. And it's, just kidding, it's denatured alcohol. So denatured alcohol, if you read the label, is mostly ethanol with a little pinch of methanol to make it poisonous, and probably a couple other tiny things. So this is my general purpose in the shop cleaner. And that's the answer to your question. I also have within arm's length here. See, that was just the one. That was just the one you can see. And then over here we have acetone, and that's just for cleaning my stuff at the welder. So there you go. Acetone used a little bit. Denatured alcohol used a lot of bit. So for extra credit, who knows why it's called denatured and why it exists? Why don't they just sell ethanol and call it ethanol instead of calling it denatured alcohol? It's a one-word answer. I lost my tea again. Oh well. Well, we'll see if anybody got it right. There's enough of a delay here that some of you probably tapped it. Yes, Chris gets it. Wow, Chris, you're on it. Adam gets it. Yeah, so it's taxes. And Adam said prohibition, which was I think the root of it all. You can't sell ethanol because you could drink it. So it has to be taxed and regulated. So they take ethanol, they add methanol to it, which makes it poisonous, and I think sometimes they add embittering agents to make it basically impossible to tolerate. And they call it denatured alcohol. But it's one of the cheap solvents in the hardware store. So it's sort of the, you know, the cheap base solvent that I have in the shop. And I keep that in the Sure Shot. And I also have some other spray thingies. Burns almost invisibly. Yeah, if you look at it it's also called fuel, you know, clean fuel. So there you go. All right. Well, it's 12:45. We will wait for any final questions, and then we're going to call it. And I'm going to get back to work because no, don't stop, Chris. Do not drink denatured alcohol. It is poison. All right. Thanks, Craig. All right, guys. I think we're going to call it. Have an awesome week. Please be safe. Stay healthy. So we can do this next week. Oh. Safer than Mositude. Not for drinking, but for cleaning. Okay. Thank you. No jokes? Oh, man. I'm not prepared. Oh, listen, I promise I will do some research. I'll prepare for next week. I don't have any jokes for you. Okay. You know what? I'm going to take this as a directive from you guys, and I'll make sure I have at least one good joke to close out with every week. All right? So, from New Hampshire, from Kinetic Precision, I will say have an awesome rest of your week, and we'll see you guys Sunday. Have fun.